Do you feel that this absolute have a longing to come through?
No.
No?
No, I don't feel like the absolute contains anything. The absolute has no quality.
Okay.
Absolutely no quality.
No wantings, no?
No, it's absolutely empty of anything. It just is watching, it's pure, it's free. Wanting and desire all is in the human realm.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong. So it's always the human that longs to come home.
But what is it we as persons then should learn to come into this, to start be looking,
Yeah,
be a channel for this absolute?
yeah.
What is it that we should...
I see it as a really impersonal thing that happens, like waking up is really impersonal.
Yeah.
And I see it as a collective thing. Like, as humans, we like to think of ourselves as individuals, but I actually see us as a species that's evolving. And I think that waking up is something that's happening in our species. And I think it's actually happening at a rapider pace, like more rapid pace, over the last like 40, 50 years in the West. And I like have all these theories. Like one part of me is really romantic, and then one part of me is really practical on the human level. Like the reason that I think it's happening in the West like this is because in the West we've satisfied our survival. Like we've mastered survival. Like, so Ramesh Balsekar, he used to say that, you can't be thinking about this. Like, I'm laughing, don't find it funny, but you can't be thinking about this if you're on the bread line. Like, if you're on the bread line and you're starving, you've got kids to think, you can't be thinking about what's the nature of reality. Like, so what we've done in the West, particularly in Europe, I predominantly know Europe, is that we've kind of got to quite a high level, a peaceful level, believe it or not, like of existence. Like we've got all these social securities. Even though some people might not feel rich, we are relatively rich in comparison. I think we're maybe the top 5%. And most of us, even though we feel insecure in a way, that's more the mind than the practicality of it. We're quite secure, and often we've got governments that will support us if we go bad. Not all of the countries in Europe, but if something bad happens to us, there's some form of support system. And I think in that, as a species, then this question begins to be asked. Then we begin to ask what's the meaning of life. Before that, we were totally focused on surviving. And I think it's a really beautiful evolution of humanity, because no other human has identified, no other animal has identified, and identified with being form and forgotten that who it was this awakeness. And then I think what happens is we lose ourselves, and then we're beginning to go back to ourselves, and this will have a profound effect on our societies. And this will happen the more that societies become peaceful and stable, I think. And I think it's a very practical thing of evolution. I know that other teachers give really romantic stories of like consciousness wanting to wake up and know itself. I think it's just a natural expression that happens when an animal begins to think and then identifies with that thinking.
So it is just something that happens.
Yeah. And I think it's a collective thing. Why do I talk about it? On the absolute level, I couldn't be anything else. I just ended up here. That was my programming. That was a particular story of this body. On the human level, it's like an expression of love. I'm so passionate about this subject. I see it as absolute freedom. I see it as freedom beyond therapy, beyond conditions. Like it's absolute freedom, and I believe it's what will actually give us peace in our societies as well. I don't actually do it for peace in society though. I do it because I love the subject and I'm so excited to share it with people.
So the choice is you as a person.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can make up for all the other women.
Yeah.
But don't ask. Okay, yeah. Any of you would like to finish now?
It's just
Yeah.
You talk as that is a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah, on the human level, yeah. That's what that sort of feels like. So the consciousness can't act. Consciousness needs to create a body and needs to create a human with desire in order to act. Really, every action, every desire is God, or consciousness is desire. but it's just the consciousness is spontaneously creating without any reason, and then it creates reason in the human life. So really every desire you have, every impulse you have, is life or consciousness, is God's desire through the human form. But yeah, keep switching levels, but it's where you have to speak. But yes, okay.